time for Late Night Spooky Radio with your host, Late Night Mark, who's up way too late talking about this crazy stuff.
Gather round, kids. It's time for Late Night Spooky Radio.
Beware that signpost ahead. You are entering the Late Night Spooky Radio Zone.
Oh man, this guy talks about some really weird stuff. Ghosts, UFOs, aliens, portals into other dimensions. He's like really out there, dude.
Hold on there, Bubba Louie. It's time for Late Night Spooky Radio.
Hey, Quickstraw, you know how they have the good and the bad and the ugly, and these guys is spooky.
One of the goals of the CERN Particle Accelerator is to open a gateway into other dimensions. What they're not counting on is when they open up that gateway, what may come through from the other side.
Dang, burn it, now I heard everything. That was one heck of a whopper.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. We've switched over to auxiliary. We are not alone. Repeat, we are not alone.
Roger, Tranquility.
He was very serious. He said the end of the world is upon us.
I think he was telling one hell of a whopper there.
They said Mars was nuked. They sent remote viewers back to ancient Mars, back where it was still green and there was a civilization of humans that were very tall. They said they exterminated themselves in a nuclear battle that took out the entire planet and destroyed the ecosystem. They said Mars was nuked.
You remember when Art Bell had the Area 51 caller on? Yeah, the satellite was knocked out of orbit, man. The whole show went down. Took him about 10 minutes to get it back up and running. Yeah, it was crazy, dude.
The aliens are watching and listening. Have you heard of the Black Knight satellite? It's been up there for many thousands of years.
Oh, I remember the time the airplane took off in 1 year, disappeared, and came back in another year in another continent. They never could explain it.
Oh, there was a UFO that came down in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. The military came in and scooped that up. Nothing to see here, folks. The guy that took some pictures of it, he had his camera confiscated.
It was actually called Project Crystal Knight. There was a personnel exchange program of sorts. In 1964 at Holloman Air Force Base, an alien craft landed. It was to pick up bodies of dead aliens from several crashed UFOs, Roswell, and another site. But part of the project was to take a team of humans to the planet Serpo. Serpo is a planet 40 light years away, orbiting the star Zeta Reticuli, the beings from that planet we call Eben.
Oh, I've heard about this guy. He talks about the same kind of stuff Art Bell used to talk about. Art Bell used to be the best man.
Quiet. The show is about to begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here goes.
All systems are go. The microphone is hot. System is recording.
You're listening to Late Night Spooky Radio with your host, Late Night Mark. And I'm battling a little bit of a chest cold here, so hopefully my sound will sound okay. I came across an interesting article on www.msn.com. The headline, UFO over Las Vegas Strip. More likely a rare weather phenomena. 2 nights before Christmas and up and down on the Las Vegas Strip, people looked up and thought they saw a spaceship. Oh, spoiler alert, it was probably just a weather phenomena. That's what they're saying, though a rare one for the Las Vegas Valley. Workers at the Sapphire Gentlemen's Club, they filmed what appeared to be groups of red and white lights shining in the clouds. Honestly, this is really strange, a voice could be heard remarking on the lights. I mean, we're here every night. I've never seen anything like this, is what he said. The people recording the event speculated that it was a UFO hovering above the club. And they weren't alone. Nexstar's KLAS heard from a worker at a nearby marijuana growing business who also saw the lights, claiming they stayed in place for more than an hour. All right, a marijuana growing business? Yeah, that's what the article said. Oh my goodness. You know, when you hear something like a marijuana growing business, you can't help but wonder, did they do that on purpose just to make the witness sound not credible? It makes you wonder. Well, all right, let's move on. The article went on to say the night was relatively cool, with the low clouds in the sky, leading to speculation it was just reflections from the lights along the Las Vegas Strip. This is probably correct, experts suggest, though it only happens during specific weather events. A meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Las Vegas told KLAS that since the lights in the clouds did not appear to move and the temperature of the clouds was cold enough, there's a good chance what people saw this night was a phenomenon known as light pillars. According to the National Weather Service, light pillars are described as the following: long pillars of multicolored light streaking the sky that seems like the perfect backdrop for impending alien invasion. But in reality, light pillars are a common effect that can be found all over the world. They do come from above, not extraterrestrials though, but tiny crystals of ice hanging in the atmosphere. Ice is very thin, shaped like plates, with hexagonal faces. When ice drifts down through the air, it falls closely horizontal. At the top and the bottom of these faces, with more area, ice is very reflective. So when light hits those wider faces, it bounces around and reflects off more ice crystals. That means we get these vertically stacked mirrors. The light hitting it gets reflected up and up, or down and down, depending on the source, and becomes a radiant column in the sky. Light can come from the sun, moon, cities, streetlights, or any strong light source. So that is the official explanation of these lights in Las Vegas. And maybe it is true. I know I have personally seen the moon at nighttime lighting up on light crystals and seeing these amazingly halo patterns coming off of it. And a couple times during the day, I've seen this happen with the sun. And the patterns were amazing that came off in the sky. It looked like a sign from the heavens. It was beautiful, amazing, and I didn't have a camera with me. And this was back in the 1970s when we didn't have cell phones that could take pictures. But it would have been one of the most amazing photos if I could have captured it. And I didn't have my 35 millimeter film camera with me at the time. Boy, I wish I did. All right, I want to touch on one of the subjects that has really been bugging me lately, and that's some of these apps that have come out that create, can put UFOs in a picture, and the internet is getting flooded with these fake videos. And some of these fake videos look pretty cool, but people are putting them out there. It's like, okay, yeah, you got this fake thing, and then you give it the tagline, UFO seen at blah, 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 and you look at it, and it's the same stupid UFO. And I can't help but think that this is kind of deliberate, even though the government came out and talked about these, unidentified flying phenomena, they call it now. And they kind of admitted that there's something there. But now we're getting all these fake videos just flooding the internet. So pretty much I even see a headline as such, and it takes me about a second to look at it, go like, oh yeah, that's fake. It's really doing people that are interested in the phenomena a big disservice. I can understand people maybe wanting to make their own little home sci-fi movies, but to constantly be putting stuff out there going, oh, UFO seen over traffic, and it's always the same audio in the background, and it's just annoying as all get out. You know the audio you hear. It sounds like, oh, in shock, and then people running around screaming, ah, in panic. I'm so tired of it. So, that's just part of the world today that we're going to have to deal with. It's getting harder and harder to have the patience to go through all the garbage out there to possibly actually see a real story. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. What else is in the news here? There are 5 space exploration missions happening in 2023. So we're wrapping up 2022. We're moving into 2023. Let's see, there's going to be the Jupiter Ice Moons Explorer in April. The European Space Agency is set to launch the Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer. in what will be Europe's first dedicated robotic mission to Jupiter. That's pretty cool. Next up, the SpaceX Starship will have the first orbital test flight, with the Super Heavy Starship spacecraft to happen early in 2023. The Starship will be the largest spacecraft capable of carrying humans from Earth to destinations in space. The Super Heavy Starship will be the most powerful launch vehicle ever to go into space, capable of lifting 100 tons of cargo to low Earth orbit. Starship is a two-component system consisting of the Starship spacecraft, which carries the crew and cargo, and the Super Heavy rocket. The rocket component will lift Starship to some 65 kilometers altitude before separating and returning to Earth in a controlled landing. The upper Starship component will then use its own engines to push itself the rest of the way into orbit. There have been several short test flights of the Starship portion of the system that met with varying degrees of success, but this upcoming flight will be the whole system together going to space. The original test flight was slated for 2022, but there have been delays. Next, there is the Deer Moon project, which will take members of the public on a 6-day trip around the moon and back. How 2001 Space Odyssey is that? This will happen aboard the Starship, but the exact date depends on Starship's successful first flight. If this happens, it will be the beginning of long-term space tourism. Perhaps the billionaires do need a way to spend their money. Maybe it will open up the eyes of influential people to how small and precious our small oasis Earth is. So in that regard, perhaps there will be some good that comes from it, and not just money-wasting thrill rides for the rich. Next up on the list, the Asteroid Explorer returns to Earth. The robotic OSIRIS-REx is NASA's mission to the near-Earth asteroid Bennu that acquired samples of Bennu and is returning them to Earth for analysis. OSIRIS-REx will bring back 1 kilogram of precious asteroid samples. If all goes well, the plan is for the capsule to detach from the spacecraft and enter Earth's atmosphere and parachute to a soft landing in the deserts of Utah on September 24th. Why does this sound like the start of a 1950s sci-fi B-movie, where some life form returns to Earth on a spacecraft and ends up turning into some Godzilla-like monster that starts ravaging the planet? On a serious note, asteroid Bennu is believed to have broken off from a much larger asteroid in the first 10 million years of the solar system, and it is believed minerals detected within it have been altered by water, which could mean that Bennu's ancient parent body possessed liquid water. It is also believed that Bennu contains precious metals, gold, and platinum. So that would definitely be incentive to start industrializing space. Finally, there is India's space launch with a private space launch company, Skyroot Aerospace, which successfully launched its Vikram's S rocket in November of 2022. This will be the first private Indian company to launch a satellite. You know, with more and more private companies going into space, it may become very crowded up there. And from what we hear, there is already a lot of stuff floating around in orbit. Late Night Spooky Radio will return after these messages from our sponsors.
I would just like to remind everybody to please like and subscribe. It'll really help out a new channel.